Date from the,
Can we have a vote? Yeah, but gotta vote.
oh, everybody in favor? Sorry about that. I always forget to vote. They're rushing me. Okay, old business, update from the dog park. I guess, I'm taking that, Matt? Okay, so our current balance is $2,407.59 as of February 28th, which is fantastic, because as we know, things are melting, and we're gonna need to put in some more bark mulch this spring, which we might try and coordinate with Earth Day. So we're gonna have a dog park meeting probably first or second week of April, so we can discuss the next steps for this year. And that's really all we have for the dog park. So that's it for that. And then we have, next is Parks and Rec, the committee survey results.
All right. So as of today, we have 192 responses, and I kind of just put it all together for top 3 for each question, and the percentages of that, and I passed it out so everyone could see it. I won't go line by line because you all have a copy, but basically common themes were adult sports. That was huge. That came throughout over and over and over again. And then also something that was somewhat surprising to me was environmental education and outdoor living. A lot of people were looking for outdoor activities and things along those lines. People really enjoy hikes and trails and such in town, so that's important for me to keep in mind. As well as something that surprised us too was the types of spaces that they like. A lot of people wanted parks instead of, I was going to think athletic fields, but I think it's more quality of the athletic fields that we have, and people don't need more, they just want it higher quality. But as far as parks go, Matt and I were talking, and he made a great point that he thinks he wants more like corner parks, like little parks here and there and all throughout town.
Little parkettes.
Little parkettes, that's great, I love that. So that's also something that we can keep in mind. People are looking, 61% of people are looking for it, so that's pretty significant. And then as far as programs go, programs that meet once per week, that was pretty strong. Emails, most people liked emails, which is good because we do the Townies 2 for Tuesday. So sometimes I feel like I'm spamming people, but people want it, so it's okay. And then if they're not on the list, they can sign up on our website. We have a link there, and then we post it on social media. So if anyone is listening and wants to get on those updates, feel free to sign up for our Townie 2 for Tuesday. And then other things people are looking for are bus trips and day trips, and most of those came from our people that have lived in town for over 20 years, so we're thinking more older population, senior center type votes, as well as adult and senior programming.
That's fantastic. That's great. We had 192 responses. Do you think we'll leave the survey out?
Well, that's
What's the thought?
one of the questions. Now, I did set up at deliberative session last week, and I picked up, I don't know, a dozen or so. They have given us the option, if we're so inclined, to set up at election day, if people want to set up at the schools. I won't have the time to do that at this point, and I'll get into that later. But if committee members have interest in staffing a table, I can certainly provide materials.
Okay, good to know. We'll discuss it more. Okay, and that, questions?
No, I just, I saw that some of the programs we'd like to see are nature-based and environmental education and so forth. And being on the Conservation Committee, I also am aware that they run several programs throughout the year at the various conservation areas. And they've got the outdoor classroom now that's being done as an Eagle Scout project. And maybe, and I think that maybe we do it anyways, Matt, but correct me, but crossover advertising for each other's programs would be awesome.
Thinking the same thing, because there hasn't really been a whole lot until recently of information coming about these programs coming from the Conservation Committee.
We actually
So-
just did one
That's
with
the
them
one I
2
just
weeks
saw.
ago.
Yeah.
The challenge for Conservation Commission is none of them are on Facebook, apparently. And
That'll
so they called me 2 weeks ago and said, hey, we got this hike we're leading Saturday. We don't have any way to take registration or to promote it. Can you do that for us? And so we had about 3 days to get the word out, and they got 7 people out of it. So for a free Saturday hike, so that was good, I guess.
Yeah.
But
great.
so we have done some. It's
Good. Yeah.
what I tend to get from them is last minute. You know, we keep asking, tell me what you want to do in May and June and whatever. But it tends to be more last minute stuff.
Okay.
With conservation.
Maybe we can.
Matt, duly noted, and I will mention that to the commission.
Yeah.
And, it's good now that we've got this out there. I say it here, so folks watching might say, if that's what you're looking for, look to Merrimack Outdoors.
Yeah.
Hello.
Actually,
Go ahead.
they just changed the name to, oh goodness, don't quote me on this, Southern New Hampshire something outdoor.
Yeah, Southern New Hampshire. Well, there's a Southern New Hampshire Outdoors that just got changed, but I think he's referring to the Conservation Commission's webpage, which is merrimackOutdoors.com
Oh, my
or
bad.
.org or
Yeah, something.
Because
like
there's
that.
also a Facebook page that
Yeah.
used to be Merrimack
And
Outdoors.
if you go to their website, they've got a link to it anyways, much
Yeah.
like that. So I know this is Parks and Rec, but I threw that out there because
Yeah.
obviously that's of interest.
Exactly. Good point. Okay, thank you. Now we're up to the director's report.
You gonna make me do it? Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that was that my cue?
No, that's okay. So Kirsten unfortunately has decided she's too cool for us, and has given her notice. And she has been poached by a town in Massachusetts, which I won't name. They were able to offer her significantly more money. So we start again.
Well, Matt, you just trained him so well.
I guess so.
Exactly, you gotta stop training them so
Stop
well.
giving him so much,
Exactly.
you know. I'm telling you.
ahead.
Absolutely. Do you,
Thank you.
congratulations.
I will say this decision on paper should have been a no-brainer for what they offered me, plus like only 32-hour work weeks. But it took multiple days, some tears, and trying to work with Matt. And I know it's really stupid for someone to be like, hey, I have this offer before I've made a decision. But I was trying to work with Matt to see if there's any way that I could stay in this town because I do love Merrimack, and you've all been a part of that, so thank you.
And unfortunately, we just can't compete with Massachusetts wages.
We're gonna miss you, yeah, we're gonna miss you, absolutely. Do you want, hey, Matt, do you want me to give you a break and we'll do
No,
the
I'm good.
organization?
So,
Okay.
at any rate, if you follow us on Facebook, you probably saw that we've started posting already. And it's posted here, there, everywhere. It is, the closing date is April 5th. And then hopefully we'll be interviewing second and third week of April, with the idea of trying to get somebody in here early May, if all goes well, to crash course on camp before camp starts. So that's where we are in that. Kirsten is giving us a month's notice, so she's here until the 16th, so we've got a few weeks to get some things done, and try to put things down on paper and everything new that she's developed in the last 6 months that now gets passed on to somebody else. But anyway, we're starting that process. I've heard that HR has already gotten a few applications in since yesterday, so we'll see what happens.
Tough shoes to fill.
And, we'll go from there.
Just don't let her leave till you find somebody.
That's right.
Right?
I keep trying. I even tried to give her my job, and she wouldn't take it.
I'm an idiot.
Anyway, so that's my challenge for the next month, next 3 months, whatever training somebody new and whatnot, and trying to gear up for camp, which we'll talk about camp in a second. Winter Carnival was incredible this year. We had 28 groups providing games, crafts, and other activities, and I'm realizing I'm probably too far from the mic. We had snow on the ground for the first time in 5 years, which was
Yes, we did.
nice. But we had a nice weather day. We had about 1,000 people in attendance, is the estimate. And actually, the ice sculpture is still there in pieces. It
Really?
hasn't- I mean, that was 3 weeks ago, and it
That's-
hasn't melted yet,
That's
so
awesome.
not fully. Coming up is, the next event coming up is the Easter egg hunt on April 13th. It is our 27th year. We have 10,000 Easter eggs for this year.
That's the crazy one.
Yeah, it is a crazy one. We received a generous $500 donation from Santander Bank.
Oh, that's awesome.
One of the things that will allow us to do this year is buy additional, with the 10,000 eggs, we're gonna have 40 of them between the different age groups. We'll have prize slips inside, and then we
Yeah.
buy prize baskets that they can win a basket.
Oh, great.
So that's allowing us to do that. The other big thing that it's allowing, well, two other big things is, one, we're getting a new Easter Bunny costume, because the other one was getting a little old. And then lastly, we're actually gonna be bringing in a photographer to do free photos with the Easter Bunny.
Oh, great.
It's always, in the past, it's been, parents use your phone and take your own, but this year we'll be able to actually give away photos. So,
Oh, that's fantastic.
and that's all coming out of their donation. As always, we'll be looking for committee volunteers to staff our table, because we'll be running around crazy that week.
Sure. Do
as
we
always.
have the times planned?
The event is 10 to 11:30, so if volunteers could be there by 9, and, well, realistically, we should be done and cleaned up by 11. So it's a fairly short, quick event. If the weather's good, then we'll see 1,000 people easy, if not more. The police always do a good job. The police volunteers always do a good job with
Okay.
dealing with parking. Make it a little easier when there's no snow on the ground. I know they had a tough time at Winter Carnival because, you had a foot of snow and you couldn't park on the snow where you can in the rest
Yeah.
of the time. So,
It was a little tighter, that's for sure.
so that's that. The community cleanup day is our second annual is coming up on Saturday, April 20th. So it's the week after Easter egg hunt. Last year we had 300 volunteers come out and cleaned up 18 sites around town. So we're pushing the registration for groups to volunteer and sign up and pick a location where they want to clean, and hopefully we'll get as many as we did last year or more. And
The sign-up's on your website?
yes,
Okay, and where's your meeting place that day?
they meet actually here in the morning at like 10:15, 10 o'clock, between 9:45 and 10, and we'll give you gloves and trash bags and that kind of stuff, and then off you go. And then DPW will go around on Monday morning and pick it all up, like all the bags that were gathered up.
Oh, that's
It was
awesome.
it was several hundred bags last year, so between all the different sites. So I know I picked up myself about 60 out of Wasserman.
Great.
So
I mentioned it at our last MYA meeting and I shared it with each director, so hopefully we're gonna see
great.
each sport taking care of their own areas. But
That's awesome.
we'll register too.
Good. Yes. The cleanup is 10 to 12. Moving on, some upcoming events. We have our next bus trip to New York City on Saturday, May 25th. This is Memorial Day weekend. Our bus is about half full at this point. We won't be taking 2 buses like we did in December because that was a little crazy. So that's our next bus trip. Our summer concert series schedule is now set. We do have those flyers available, and for here on the committee, we passed out the brochure, which has the schedule in there for the concerts as well as the movies in the park. Now, the 3 movies in the park this summer, the first one's going to be July 5th. We're going to do it, kind of time it into 4th of July week. Obviously, we have the July 3rd concert at Abbey Griffin, as we always do. The 4th is the parade and the fireworks and everything else. So we decided to time it into July 5th because I'm glutton for punishment, apparently. But it's not official yet but I talked today to the Merrimack Lions Club, and they're going to sponsor that concert or that movie on the 5th, and they're going to do hot dogs as part of the giveaway, hot dogs as part of the event, as part of the movie night. So just something free. The second one is a Sunday. It's a Sunday night, and the reason we chose it is it's National Ice Cream Day. So we're hoping to give away ice cream, and we're working on trying to find a sponsor for that right now. But
Great.
hoping to give away ice cream at that particular movie. And then the third one is Tuesday, August 6th, which coincides with National Night Out with the police department that we do every year. So those are those events. As I mentioned, the camp, or the brochure is, we just finished about 2 hours ago. Kirsten worked on this for the last week and a half, trying to get this done and all of our spring and summer programs, so you have the first drafts of that. Yeah, we've only printed about 24 copies at this point, so,
Oh, that's funny.
because inevitably, there's always something we find.
Oh, sure.
Moving on to camp registration, is doing incredibly well. So a year ago at this meeting, we were at 308 total registrations for year to date. If you recall last month, I reported we had already passed this month's number. So as of yesterday, we were at 521 registrations for
Wow.
camp. So we're well ahead of where we were last year, and last year was our record attendance year. So we like where this is going, as long as it keeps up. So Natticook Day Camp is almost 50% full at this point. None of the weeks have sold out, but they're all steadily climbing. Camp Trek, our teen program, is 88% full, but we're actually sold out on 3 of the weeks at this point. They sold out last night. And so those are looking really nice, and we're happy where that's going. Which leads us to our challenge, which is summer hiring. So hiring's tough this year. Probably toughest year I've had in the 6 years that I've been here. However many years I've been here. We're pretty good on counselors, but we still need swim instructors. I need a park maintenance person for the summer, arts and crafts, nature, archery, and a one-on-one special needs aide. So it's like I need 1 or 2 of each of those, and that's the challenge.
Matt, could you please, I got
Sure.
swim and park maintenance.
So swim instructor, park maintenance. I need 1 arts and crafts instructor, nature instructor, archery instructor, and a one-on-one aide.
Thank you.
Oh, I do need 1 senior counselor for our Trek program. Since we're full, if I can get another counselor, then I can, or we're getting close to full, I can get another counselor, I can take more spots. But right now, I don't have the staff to support it, so I don't want to burden myself with it. Yes.
Yeah, isn't it because you're not paying them enough? Like McDonald's gets $10.50 an hour?
Yeah, that's a big part of it. And our counselors went up. Everything went up a little bit this year, and we went up mostly on our counselors. But it's, 2.2% unemployment in New Hampshire, and
Right.
so people are picky and hold out for better things, as we have seen. And yes, I've been giving her grief since last week, so.
Matt, quick
Yeah.
question. How young can your counselors be?
My counselors can be 16. Most of those positions that I need, well, the archery instructor and the swim instructors can be 16 if they have the certification, but all the other positions all have to be 18.
Okay.
So it's a tough year all around. And a lot of the towns around us are having the same problem. It's just, private markets are paying better, and
Right.
it is now. The other thing that we're kind of watching related to that is right now there's 5 different bills in the State House related to minimum wage. So if one of those goes through, then that might solve our problem for next year, but it also means that cost of camp is going to go up significantly. I did a rough calculations based on the bills that are in the 2 leading bills that I saw. One was proposing $950 for next year, and one was $10 as a minimum. And so when I extrapolate that out to our positions, it adds about, $25,000 to $30,000 to the camp budget, which means $25 or $30 on the cost of camp. Unless I can find some other way to offset that revenue, which the only way I can do that is more programs. So more programs, bigger programs. Because one of the challenges, again, that we have is that part of mine and Kirsten's salary is charged off to the programs that we run. And like Natticook Day Camp shoulders about 75% of that. So, if I ran more things, then the camp wouldn't pay as large a portion, so I could use that transition a little bit. But realistically, cost of camp's going to keep going up. Maureen?
It's the old lady again. Do you scholarship anybody, like, if they can't afford?
Yes.
Is there any?
Yes, we
Because the
work,
Y does, and they ask people for donations so that they can give
Yes.
kids free.
yep.
Do we
And
have
we
any?
we work with the welfare department here in town with Pat Murphy.
Yeah,
The applications all go through her, and she determines, based on financial
like
need.
sponsor a child, somebody could
Yep,
sponsor a
Yep.
child for a
And
week.
we actually sent out letters. We have a small contingent of organizations that donate to us every year. The Lions Club, Friends and Family, I'm drawing a blank, Bear Christensen Trust, the Girl Scouts have given us money. I know there's others and I'm drawing a blank, but, there's a bunch of organizations in town that do donate to that, so we're able to give some of that. But there's always more needs than,
Absolutely.
what we get. So hiring is our challenge on multiple fronts in the next couple of months.
Right?
And that's all I got.
So you have, okay. Any questions, comments? Okay. All right, moving to the organizational report. Maureen?
That's me, I think, one of me. Well, the Telegraph, John Wagner, I brought it in. I think Rick would maybe know him. He was on the board of directors of MYA. He passed away. He was instrumental in John O'Leary, getting John O'Leary together. So he passed away,
Oh, wow.
yeah, on March 12th, I guess. So he was interested in a lot of things, softball, coached, umpired, and had a lot of things. So if you want to, Rick, you wanted to read that?
Yeah, sure.
Today, the seniors are on a trip, which I didn't go. I was too busy. At the Newport Playhouse, when I went by, there was still, the bus hadn't come back. That's, a long day. They're going to see the Lone Star. It's a cabaret and show with dinner and everything. Sign-ups for Foxwood on May 8th. They're going to have a bus. I don't know if, doesn't seem like it's going to be no one's rushing to sign up, but
Oh,
you never know, last minute.
gotta get the word out.
Also, sorry to say, on April 13th, I can't volunteer because we're having a yard
Oh,
sale.
right.
Oh,
And I'm
right.
I have a truck, so of course I have to volunteer. Or my husband does, so.
Well,
The truck is, they want me, they really want the truck,
Right.
So from 9 to 2 at the John O'Leary Center, we're going to have an indoor yard sale. And we have a lot of things that she has in the fire. And I know that we have a New York trip too in October going on. So I don't know how many people have signed up for that yet, so.
Are you, just a day trip, though?
No, overnight.
Oh, you're doing
Oh, wow.
Overnight,
Okay.
so
Exciting.
that's a nice one. I know there's 10 people that have signed up so far, and I'm one of them, so. Because I need to rest in
Yeah.
between.
Sure.
We've looked at that trip, but it's usually fairly expensive to
Like
do it
400.
overnight, and,
400 and something,
yeah,
but there's a lot included, so.
right. Well,
Okay.
it's getting, 30 or 40 people
Yeah.
to sign up for it overnight,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
to make the bus cost doable,
Right, right. But I guess they'll pick you up, like, where Best of Times will pick you up
Yeah.
if you have 10 people, so you
Right.
don't have to travel someplace else, so.
Nice.
Okay, that's all I have. If you have any questions, but please come to our yard sale.
After getting
Well,
Easter eggs.
After Easter egg. Well, thank you.
Yeah. When you had your Easter egg hunt.
That's right.
Bring the Easter eggs.
That's right. We'll share. Thank you, Maureen. And MOA Rick?
Thank you. Okay, so we still have a couple of openings on the executive board, including our secretary position and our member at large. And a number of other openings within each sport, including coaches, which are always needed. Excuse me. Our registration is open for softball, spring soccer, lacrosse, and baseball at certain levels. Please check their website. And we are, quite frankly, struggling to find enough field space for everybody this spring. The good news is most of our, especially soccer, is growing as a sport with participation. But the bad news is rectangular fields that can support these
Right.
are getting harder and harder to manage. But I think everybody here realizes that. I just want to share it. And as always, if you need more info, merrimacyouth.org. Thank you.
And Rick, I was gonna, we started talking about field space and we kind of ran into a wall with space. Although I noticed, and I don't know if anybody else has seen this, that driving range up by the airport has a different for sale sign on. I mean, there'd been one on there for a while but it's a different sign now, so maybe it actually is for sale, and I don't know. I mean, it'd be interesting just to see what the land's going for,
Yeah.
not that we could do
Agreed.
anything in a year's time, but, it'd be interesting just to see that.
Matt, what location was this?
The driving range
Okay.
up by the airport exit.
Yep.
I noticed when I drive home that it's a different sign that used to be there, so,
Is
It's-
that
it's-
Merrimack, does anyone here know, or Bedford?
I don't know.
I know it's called the
Uh,
Town
the-
Line Driving Range.
Okay.
The town line is right, if you're looking at the driving range, the right side of the driving range is the Bedford Merrimack Town Line.
Okay.
Same individual owns the driving range and owns a few acres to the right of that.
Oh, okay.
So Peter, if I'm understanding you, most of that flat space is Merrimack?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good to know.
It'd be worth looking into again, we're a year plus away from doing anything, but it's open land. We probably ought to at least take a look at it.
Yeah, it's worth exploring, I agree.
Absolutely. All right, thank you. More to come on that. All right, so our student rep, Abby.
Hello. So first of all, the school play episodes on an autumn evening is going to a state festival. They did good at their regionals, so they're going to state sport. So that's exciting. That's coming up. The school hosted the celebration of song for choruses through elementary through high school, and they just had that last night. And the band version of that, Cavalcade of the Bands, is on the 28th, and that's going to feature from the elementary and then up to our band with all the jazz bands. And we also have another competition called Large Group Reading Friday. So a lot of stuff
Fantastic.
going on.
Sounds exciting.
It is.
Thank you.
It's high school.
Oh yeah.
I remember.
Absolutely. All right, school board?
Oh, I actually haven't, Brandy emailed me, her husband was stuck in traffic, so she was stuck with the kids and whatever.
Oh, I was gonna say.
So, but she sent me her announcements, which was June 8th is graduation.
Oh, okay.
So that's been set, and then I guess the school committee is still discussing the turf field. They had a field designer in at one of their last meetings and talking to them about options, so that's still an ongoing process.
Okay.
And I presume that's the high school.
Matt,
Okay.
didn't we have some person on our committee that was doing turf fields? Remember, he said that was really,
Yeah.
I can remember him. He didn't
That's
say very
right.
much, but he always talked about those.
Yeah,
It's too bad. I wonder if they got a hold of him.
yeah,
I
I'm
know.
not sure.
Because I
Dan
know he
Ricker.
lived in
That's
Merrimack.
right, yeah. He was on for a while.
Yeah.
So-
And I believe Dan's on a different committee now.
Yeah, he
Yes.
is. I'm not sure which one, but I
I
remember.
saw him on TV. Yeah, it might be zoning.
I think it's zoning. But, okay, yeah, people move around. All right, any questions within the organization reports? No? Okay. All right, no, seeing no people from the public?
Oh.
Oh,
Did you,
Yeah.
I just,
yes.
briefly, we had the town deliberative session.
Yes.
Everything went well. All the warrant articles passed as written to include the Parks and Recreation
Yep.
budget in the budget.
Yes.
And so now it goes to the voters, and more importantly, too, within that budget is the $90,000 for the waterfront improvements.
Oh, wonderful.
So now it just goes to the voters, so folks get out and support that, and that'll be awesome.
That's awesome. Sorry for missing you, Peter. Apologize. I know, you're just too quiet over there.
Why I hide over
There you
Is
go.
that how that works?
Hey, nice try. All right, so we have no public here today, so no comments from the public. Any comments from the committee?
Actually, I'm realizing as I'm looking back at my sheet here, do we want to keep the survey, keep collecting? I mean, again, it's only 190 responses. Maybe they'll keep coming in incrementally, but is it gonna change the results all that much at this point, unless, I don't know.
I'm inclined to leaving it open and maybe doing a couple more pushes on a couple of the pages and getting it out, maybe one more month
Sure.
and just see.
Yep.
But I don't know how everybody else
No,
feels.
I would agree. And if we could get somebody during election day at the tables, and more so, and I know Matt's tied up, but if we could get some folks, I have to be there for other purposes, but, get somebody there to do the surveys, and maybe wherever I'm stationed, maybe I'll do double duty and do
Right.
that as well.
Well, and I can give you, the surveys to take with you and a table if you need it and that kind of stuff. So-
And I think that the importance of this survey is going to be also is the town council has its retreat in June.
Yeah.
And this will give us something to discuss, Parks and Rec wise, moving forward on projects and stuff, which I'd like to talk about. And then Matt can, before our meeting, I'm sure we'll meet with the town manager and express some of his thoughts and ideas. So
Yeah.
I think that's why that's important to keep it going a little
Okay.
longer.
Absolutely.
Just wanted to
agree.
make sure.
Yep.
I was thinking the same. My question is, what's the disadvantage to leaving it open? Is there one?
No.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why not?
Absolutely.
That's all I got.
All right. Any other comments, suggestions, thoughts? No.
Light meeting this month.
Late meeting.
Light.
Light, yes.
Yeah, no Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts.
Yes, that's true. No Eagle Scouts. All right. So we're on to our future meeting dates. They're set at April 17th and May 15th. And do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion
to Okay. Anybody second?
I'll second.
In second? All in favor?
Aye.
You good? Awesome. All right. Great meeting.